Hey Ace. I'm doing this video, just trying to do it quickly anyway, in response to your contest video. As you'll see here, I have a picture of the original EW Sandrock. I kind of like these colors, but I think these colors are more appropriate for a mobile suit that has more to do with, say, the Arctic, or some kind of snow type color scheme. There's lots of whites, lots of light blue, grays, muted tones like that, but they're very light. That attributes itself well to, like, snow. But Sandrock is inspired by the desert. It's inspired by the Middle East. And it's inspired by this sort of idea of Middle Eastern nomadic warrior types. So that's why I came up with this. This color scheme is in part based upon the Maganach Corps, that group of mobile suits that Sandrock travels around with, and their color scheme, as well as this idea that Sandrock is a desert, quote-unquote, a desert mobile suit, and it should blend in with the desert itself. And I think these colors sort of have very earthy tones to them, which I really think fits the character of this mobile suit. It just suits this design better, I think. But anyway, getting on to the colors themselves, you'll notice that most of the white of the main body is now a sort of off-white, yellow, tan, sand color almost. Something close enough to that will suffice. Next up, we have this sort of medium dark brown-gray that's on the wrists, the shoulders, the head, that helmet part, as well as the ankle guards. Then the next darker thing we have is the torso with this sort of dark brown color. You also have it on the lower torso, the skirt armor, the kneecaps, and the bottom of the feet, as well as the little flaps coming off the side of the shoulder armor right by the arms there. We also have the same gold as before, or maybe some kind of darker color, but just plain old gold would work here. Metallic gold would look nice. Also, we have a kind of earthy looking orange-red, or red-orange. And I have a color in mind that would work perfectly for this. Krylon sells a color of spray paint called Georgia Clay. And it's pretty similar to this hue of color. It might be a little darker or lighter in shade than this image, but it's close enough to the idea of the color anyway to work well here, I think. And this color goes on a couple of places that used to be gold. First one would be the middle of the skirt armor in the front there, just below the torso. And also on those little protruding side things on the torso that go on either side of the head. Those used to be yellow, now they're this red. I just think it sort of adds a little more diversity to the color and breaks up things a little more evenly, I guess. The face mask, you will notice, is white. Think about Epion, It's got all these sort of really wicked looking deep maroon burgundy colors, and these sort of navy blue colors, medium sort of purple gray colors, really dark in a lot of the places. But then you've got the face mask, which is bleach white, and that really pops against that kind of color scheme. Not only that, but it really helps show. It just sort of like kind of like when you see that face mask with the lines across them like that, you think Gundam. That's a very key trait to Gundam, that kind of a face. And seeing it in white, in stark contrast to the colors around it, really kind of reminds you that, hey, even though this is kind of a wild and different color scheme for a Gundam, it's still a Gundam. And you can clearly see that it is. So not only does it create a nice bit of contrast and something a little unique in the kit to break it up a bit, but it also sort of helps solidify its Gundam identity, you might say. The inner frame could be just some sort of a flat gray, or a gunmetal would work here as well. From personal experience, I know gunmetal looks fantastic on inner frames. And last but not least, we have those enormous blades on the back. I think they're called heat shuttles, but I can't be positive. Anyway, you will notice that they are a sort of yellowish color. That's not gold, that's bronze. And here's the idea. Like I said before, I believe Sandrock's design is based on sort of Middle Eastern nomadic desert warrior type style, you know? It just sort of has that vibe, especially because of the shape of these weapons. Now have a look at this image. It looks very similar, doesn't it? This, I believe, is at least a replica of an authentic sword used at that time period by Middle Eastern warriors. It's made of bronze, I think. Or it certainly looks like it anyway. I mean, just look at the color of it, and now look back on this picture. Pretty close. So it's not only to make the blade look more unique, but also to sort of tie this idea back to Sandrock being, in a metaphorical sort of way, this sort of Middle Eastern armored gigantic god almost, you know, a sort of deity, a symbol of like Middle Eastern strength and power and all that. And having these giant swords in bronze not only makes them look cooler, in my opinion, but also is a throwback to that whole concept. But also for those heated up effect, those clear red effect parts, I'd like to have those painted as well. Here's why. When you get a clear red piece like that, it sort of comes across as the idea like it's made out of energy. You know, that's been the tradition with Gundam models. If you get a clear colored blade, that's a beam. These are not beams. They're not made out of anything that is transparent or translucent. They're metal. And so, I want this idea to remain that they are solid objects. And so, to accomplish that, and still have this red heated up look, I would suggest using something either like a fluorescent red or a bright metallic red. That way, either way, you've got this idea that it is still there. It's a solid thing, but it's just really heated up. And the only other thing I think of is with the eyes and the forehead camera. They're green in this picture. That's up to you. But a suggestion that might look good, blue. Or some kind of blue-green. Maybe even a bright yellow might look interesting on there. Or maybe a sort of yellow-orange. But I don't know. That's entirely up to you. There's nothing specific about that, I think. But anyway, I guess in a nutshell, there you have my idea for the color scheme. And I guess I just hope you like it. I know that if I had a spare Sandrock to paint in whatever colors I wanted, I'd do something at least similar to this. You know, this is something I would feel proud to put on my shelf, and, well, I guess I hope you would too. So, as for what I would do with my Sandrock if I won the thing, I would do something a little bit like this. Now this, as you may recognize, it's the EW version, but it's in the TV colors. You've got like a darker navy blue for the lower arms, a lot of the side skirts, the torso. The shoulders have a little bit of this sort of medium gray in them, medium bluish gray. You've still got some gold trim here and there, and I've left some of the gold trim like on the ankles and above the shoulders, or the torso here on the side of the head. I think they look good having them, but I did get the helmet to solid white like it should be, and I changed the V-fin to solid gold like it should be, and I changed that middle section of the skirt armor from yellow to red to match the show more accurately, I think. And the hands, I made them gray entirely, instead of having a lighter colored back cover on them. But otherwise, it looks quite a lot like, well, EW version, but still distinct enough to be recognized as the TV version. And that's what I would do with mine if I had the chance. That said, actually, I guess if you happen to be leaning more towards this one now, you know, feel free to use that one instead, or count it as the entry if you want to. Officially, I'm entering this one, the deserty color schemes. But if you want, feel free to borrow this one as well. Anyway, I guess that's about it then. So, thanks for holding a contest. It was fun, and I really enjoyed doing this color scheme stuff. It's something I always enjoy doing. And anyway, thanks again, and I'll catch you later.